How many of you, and I want you to be honest with yourself at this point, think, why do I bother working when so many people can claim benefits and earn pretty much the same as me? Now, it really depends on what sort of wages you're on as to whether that actually applies to you. Now, immediately I can hear from the background people screeching, oh, I deserve this and I'm ill and I'm whatever. Right, let me lay this out and make it perfectly clear so anybody watching this can understand. If you're ill, all right, and you are getting benefits because you are generally ill, this message is not for you. Do not get upset. If you are temporarily out of work and looking back to get employed, you want to be employed, you are looking actively now, this message does not go to you. But there is an element of the community who do like to sign on. There are people who are freeloaders. There are idle people. There are useless lazy sods. There are people out there that have considered this to be a career. There are people out there that actively got themselves pregnant because they knew that once they had a few kids, that would be it. They'd be sorted. Now, some of you may be screeching and calling me a misogynistic pig. Good, crack on. But it is a fact. There are many single parents out there and there are many lazy people out there. Now, some of you may also say that maybe in the beginning these people were in an actively and sensible relationship where it was working fine. And unfortunately, through no fault of their own, the relationship split up. Maybe it was their fault, maybe it wasn't their fault. Whatever, I'm not about to judge the breakup of their relationship. Now, if you are one of these people where he or she has walked out on you and you end up with the kids and you can't work for whatever reason, this then doesn't apply to you either. I am simply talking about the people that see benefits as a way of obtaining money without working for it. Now, at this point, I've probably stirred up quite a bit in the comments already, but have a watch of this, right, and then we'll come back to it.
Got to pay to work. It's got to be remunerative to work. And one of the problems we've got as a country, and I'm just going to throw some numbers out there because it's important to understand this, is that on universal credit, the maximum amount you can claim, which as it happens to be is as a single mother with children living in London, is £23,000 a year. The average national wage after tax, believe it or not, is £23,000 a year. So the universal...
Ben, just to be clear, what you're comparing is a national figure and a London figure. So if you look at the national maximum universal credit for single mother with children, it's 20,000. Okay. So it's less.
Slightly less. And wages nationally would be less perhaps than they are in London.
Well, I'm just comparing two national figures as opposed to a national and a London figure.
But it is very, very close. And what you don't do in order to get people to work. And one more thing I need to say before I go forward is there are 5.7 million people now claiming universal credit to some extent or another. That's nearly twice what it was before lockdown, and about 500,000 people have entirely fallen out of the workforce. This is a disaster for the United Kingdom. We've got to get people back into work. And what you don't do in order to get them back to work is to make it easier for them to make money on universal credit, on benefits, than they would if they actually went back into the workforce.
Now, as you're seeing, what he said is basically that, say, for instance, in the centre of London as a single parent, you could earn sort of £23,000 a year. Fiona Bruce piped up and said outside of London, that's a bit less. Fine, I'll take her word for it on that. However, where is the incentive for a person to go to work? Why should somebody like me pay rather large sums of tax knowing that there are huge sums of people in the benefit system that could work? And I've delivered before to places, right? It was a mixed couple. And he comes out, he goes, so how much do you earn? I thought it was a bit personal, but I'll tell him. And at the time I was on £300 a week. This was going back a few years ago. He said, I wouldn't get out of bed for that. And I thought, no, I bet you wouldn't. And I looked around his place, and he had significantly more than I did. Big screen TVs, gaming consoles, nice leather sofas, all the rest of it. And I thought, there's something wrong here, because I work, in this particular job, 60 hours a week, and I'm shattered, and I earn next to nothing. Now, is that my fault for working for a person who literally didn't pay me very much? Or is there a fault with the system that rewards the idle? You tell me. The benefit system was put into place many years ago to help people in need, not to help people with greed. And I also know that there are people within the system that do work cash in hand as well. So, as a taxpayer and a person who works their backside off, this sort of thing annoys me. But what I want to know is, what do you feel about it in the comments? Because obviously this is going to stir up some anger and some debate, and there will be people that will just burst into various one-liners. Oh, you're just prejudiced against, and oh, you don't understand what it's like, and you don't understand this, and probably I don't. In many cases, I don't care either. I don't want to support idle people. I only want to support the very basic needs of people who are on hard times. It's also another thing that I don't believe that people on credit or benefits should be given cash into their bank. I think they should be given vouchers. And some people won't like this either. I believe that they should be given food vouchers to go and buy their food, and other vouchers so they can pay for their electric and pay for their gas. I don't want to pay for their alcohol. I don't want to pay for their fags. I don't want to pay for their subscription to Netflix and other things like that. I don't. Why should I? I don't have Netflix. I can't afford it. Actually, I wouldn't have it anyway, but it's not the point. So let me know what you think. Am I being harsh? Am I being out of order? Do you think I'm not being very charitable? Right? And I'm only talking about the indigenous people of this country. I'm not talking about anybody else. So let me know what you think in the comments. I know this is going to wind some people up. That is the entire purpose of doing it. But the debate in the comments will be interesting. So there you go. Now, don't forget, we're live tonight at 8 p.m. on all the various platforms that I am on, that I can go live. So that's the 3 YouTube channels, Facebook, hopefully Getter, hopefully Rumble. So if you're on one of those platforms, follow us, and it should be quite good. Anyway, I'll see you later.